Right, today we're going to talk about polynomial functions, and you guys can read all of the definitions here. The polynomial is anyone that has x's to whole numbers, so like x squared, x to the seventh, those are all polynomials. So if there's any one term, we call that right here, a one term, we call it a monomial. 2 is binomial, 3 would be trinomial. Anything after 3, we all just call those polynomial. Your degree right here tells you it's your highest exponent. Polynomial is what I just said. It has just x's to whole numbers. Standard form is when you go the highest exponent to the lowest exponent. End behavior. Your end behavior should be this chart right here, which might be hard to see. It's very hard to see on here. So I redid the chart right here on the back. This is what it should look like. And what the end behavior is telling us is what your graph will be doing on either end. It'll be important in a couple sections. Right now, you just need to be able to tell me if it's up, up, down, down, and whatnot. So I'm going to give you examples of all 4 of these. And so here I just made up 4 examples for you. So we're looking at the highest exponent, and that's what tells you if it's an even or an odd function. From this side, I gave you 2 of them that were even. That highest is a 4, and this highest is a 6. So you're looking at the actual number up here on the x's. That's what we look for, the even and the odd category. So these both were under the even. So the second thing you look at then is what's out in front. So this right here is nothing, so it's assumed positive. So we're going to use this one. We're going to say it's up, up, because A was positive and it's even. So right here, the leading coefficient is negative. So we're an even exponent, but the leading coefficient was negative. So we would write down, down on this category. Over here, likewise, your highest exponent on both of these are odd numbers. So it's just the numbers on the x's. Tells you if you're even or odd. So now we're under here under odd. This one leading coefficient is a positive. So you're in this one, so you have down, up. And then on this one right here, your leading coefficient is negative, which puts us in this category. So then this would be an example of up, down. So last definition on here is your turning points. So an example would be like if I have this here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. This one has 4 turning points, so 4 turns. So then what it could be is an x to the 5th graph. Like x to the 7th would have 6 or less turns, and so on. Down here in this chart, it just gives you exactly what I wrote on the back, just 4 more examples. This one was an even, positive. You can see how the graph goes up and up. Here's a negative, even exponent, so it went down and down. All right, down here, we need to state the degree, the leading coefficient, write it in standard form if needed, and then we're going to classify it. So I'm going to go ahead and do number 1 for you. Okay, for this chart, I forgot we're going to need this right here. So if you can't see it, I did do it again on the back. And what it tells you is that if the highest degree is a 0, we call it a constant. Okay, I don't know what that happened. If it's a 1, linear, 2, quadratic, 3 says cubic, 4 says quartic, and 5 says quintic. So usually after 5, we don't give them special names. So if your highest degree is like a 6 and so on, we wouldn't actually give those names. So this is what that chart should say right here. So number 1, I have it written out here for you. So here it is in standard form. I wrote negative 3x to the 4th, that's the highest exponent, and so on. That makes the degree 4 because the highest term right here, the highest degree was a 4. The leading coefficient is what is out in front of that, so it's a negative 3. And to the degree of 4, we call it a quartic, but there are actually 3 terms here because you have 1, 2, 3 terms. That's why it's called a trinomial. So like number 2, it's already in standard form for us. The degree on this is a 5. We call that a quintic. And the leading coefficient is at 6. And then it has 2 terms, so we would call this a binomial. Let's try number 3. So standard form would be 5x squared minus 5 2. Has 3 terms, so I'm going to call it a trinomial. The degree is 2, so we call that a quadratic. And your leading coefficient this time is 5. The next one, we're just going to say if these are polynomials or not. So take a second to look at it, pause it, and then come back and look at the answer. So make sure you pause first. So this one is a no because there's an x in the exponent. This one is yes, it follows the rules. 5 would be no, because it's an x on the bottom. So it has to just be x's to whole numbers. Again, that's not a whole number. That's a negative exponent, which would put it on the bottom. That's also not. So now the end behavior. So we're looking for the highest exponent and if it's positive or negative. So right here is your the highest. That's a positively leading coefficient, sorry. And then the exponent is an odd number. 3 is odd. When you look at your chart and positive, odd goes down, up. Number 2, the highest. So 4 is your highest here. That's a negative, and it's an even. This 4 is an even number. Looking at your chart would tell you that this goes down, down. Lastly, that's a power of 4, so it's even. Nothing out in front, so that's missing positive. So positive even goes up. I don't know why this is working weird. I'm sorry. Well, now let me erase it. So it goes up, up. That's what this is trying to write right here. Up, up. So now you guys have a Math Excel. I'm just going to go ahead and just have you practice all these vocabulary